All right, welcome to another episode of Twisted Metal Companion. I'm Peter. Over there, he's got all the nice dong moves. Is Tyler? How you doing, sir?
Doing great. Ready to slam.
Yes. Apt response or whatever. Because we just dropped an interview with Creek Wilson, who plays Mr. Slam. Had a good time speaking with him, and just is one of those things that I reached out and literally within minutes I was able to schedule something with him the same evening. So yeah, I got to speak with him and put that out immediately while we waited to record this episode. Um not Since we're approaching the release of season two, there hasn't been anything new since the trailer really. They've been releasing some promotional stuff. Um they had John, Quiet, and Sweet Tooth do a bit of a recap, a promo on season one to kind of get you caught up if you didn't have the time to binge. But I think that's pretty much it. I know that some of the, not some, but I know all 12 titles have made it out there into the interwebs for season two. So um, I don't know. I don't think the titles will really spoil anything, but just be careful because where I found them, it also had the episode descriptions. And so if you want to watch season two spoiler free, I would advise of not looking those up. So let's see here. So we are discussing episode 7 of season one titled Nut House. Did you pick that one up easily?
Yes, yeah, got that
Yeah.
one pretty quick.
It almost like a German spelling, really, with the HOU, well, H0UZ. Now,
NUTH0US.
yeah, Peacock has this episode as John and Quiet make a pit stop. John reunites with a contact, and Sweet Tooth bonds with a follower. Name game. So Nut House. What were some examples or anything that made you think of the Nut House other than the pit stop, which is actually called Nut House?
Yeah, the obvious one that we see. And then of course we get Sweet Tooth's kind of the B plot, where they're at the asylum, which bit of a unfriendly
Backfield.
name. Yeah, for
Is that
an
what it was called in
asylum
the
nut
game too?
house. Oh, I don't know.
Backfield. I almost felt like I should have looked that up, but I didn't remember if that's what it was titled. Um, let's see. So, what did you think of this episode?
This one I really liked a lot, which mainly for getting the intro, the kind of cold open that we get, and getting some more Sweet Tooth's, or I guess kind of all of Sweet Tooth's backstory.
Hmm.
This is kind of seems like it. We get caught up with why he is the way that he is.
Yeah, a lot of answers
Yeah,
for many of the questions that we had leading into this episode. I kind of forgot that this episode had the pit stop and the sweet tooth heavy backstories and stuff like that. I thought this was a great episode, very well written, one of my favorites. I would definitely put this up there with Who's There, episode 4. I remember raving about that one and getting the convoy and Granny Dread and all of that. This one, you have a lot of familiar faces for those that played the games, and just really, really great dialogue between characters. So we'll definitely get into it. So this was directed by Bill Benz and written by Alyssa Forlighter. Let me just double check, and I think that's the way because I reached out. I told her I didn't want to mispronounce it, but yes, Forlighter. So I have a crossover with her. She wrote episode 7 in season 3 of Cobra Kai, and just someone that I never had never reached out to for an interview. So it's yeah, it's kind of wild that she ends up on here. Maybe she has like a relationship with MJ Smith, and that's how she ended up here, um,
yeah.
writing for Twisted Metal. So uh, I think that's it for the beginning. So we could just kind of jump into it. We open up in 1989 on the set of a TV show called, well, we're going to find out that been renamed Billy and Two Scoops, but it's called Two Scoops, and it's being filmed in front of a live studio audience. And we meet one of the leads, Marcus Kane. It says M. Kane, and who is going over the script. And yeah, so you kind of mentioned that it opens up on this cold open of like Sweet Tooth
Mhm.
origins. But what did you think of it overall?
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Nope. The when we get
Oh, I have
the
not seen that yet.
Oh, okay. There's
Is it
kind of a similar,
tone?
just like, yeah, we see like a character who's on a similar kind of like 90s, 80s TV show, and something uh terrible happening, on set.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. The script that he's looking over, it says 201, so this is the season premiere of season two, and it's titled Billy's Big Promotion. So not only is like the show being renamed with the addition of Billy's name to it, in this first episode here, season two, he's getting promoted. So I don't
Hmm.
know if he's going to be the one driving the ice cream truck, who knows? But it is that episode is written the 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 fictional episode is written by Nate Friend, who I believe he was also a PA on Diary of a Future President, where MJ was also he wrote at least one episode and served as executive story editor for seven of them. And Becca Black, who's also one of the writers of Twist Meadow, she was also a PA on that show, and they're very close friends. So there is some connection
Wow.
there.
Yeah, a lot of
As
Easter
far as
eggs.
I know, yeah, I don't believe he writes or anything for Twisted Metal, but is a like a very close friend to some of them. Um, Marcus is upset that the show has been retitled and points out that he's the lead. Now, have you heard of that before, where like a show like kind of changes the title a little bit? Like I know sometimes when with spin-offs they'll have like a subtitle with the original title.
Yeah, like I can think of like the situation where like a character kind of gets promoted to now being the more, important, the focus of the show, but never actually changing the title. The only thing that like came to mind just now is like what is it? Good
Family
Morning Miss
Matters.
Bliss,
Oh, yeah, Good
and
Morning
like
Miss
going
Bliss, yeah.
to Saved by the Bell, when Miss Bliss is no longer there. But
Right. Actually, that's a good point. But yeah, they completely moved Bayside. If it was
yeah,
even still Bayside in Good Morning Miss Bliss, and they took all
an
the
entire
characters
school
minus
moves down.
yeah, yeah. Because I think it was just wasn't it just Lisa, Zach, and Screech, right? And
I
then I
think
think
I think so.
yeah, and then everybody else was new. Slater, Kelly and Jesse were all yeah on the West Coast Bayside and not the
Yeah.
Midwest. So
But yeah,
that
definitely, and we'll see the title card. But yeah, definitely calling forward, Family Matters, and just kind of like,
right.
oh, Urkel it's if like season two of Family Matters, if they would have titled it Urkel and the Family Matters.
That's true, right? Yeah, that would have been really weird because then everyone would just start calling it Urkel. Nobody's calling it Family Matters at that point.
Yeah,
And it's, I kind of get it. I don't think I'd be too happy about that. And it's like the dog can't even speak. So anyway, and just so it's on record because we're speaking right now. I do like animals a lot. I'm not a pet owner, but
yeah,
that's because like wife and kids all have like allergies to pet hair and all that. Um. But yeah, I might be a little bit on Marcus. There we go. Tyler also has a cat. Well, I think you shared. Maybe I shared. Your other cat came up in one of our previous episodes. Um, let's see. But I might be a little bit with Marcus on the title. That's it. Just on the title. I'm not saying the dog has it coming or
yeah.
anything like that.
Perfectly justified to be angry
Yeah.
about the situation.
He's not happy with Billy. He mentions he even has a bigger Billy has a bigger fan club than him. And at some point, we find out from his stepdad that I guess he was living in a taxi cab with his biological father and still would have been there if he hadn't gone to jail. So I
Mhm.
thought that was interesting too. Do you recall the backstory for Marcus Kane or anything like that? Wasn't Marcus the dad originally in the games? Because there's a
Uh,
Needles Kane, right?
yeah, that sounds familiar. That yeah, Sweet Tooth, I believe in the games is more, yeah, would be the abandoned or the father handling things well.
Yeah, and we haven't mentioned it yet, but you know, we do not have an Easter egg video from Radek for this episode. So when we do get it, we'll, play them both on the next episode. So he, yeah, the scheduling just kind of conflicted, so we weren't able to get the Easter eggs for episode 7, which he may even discuss the names. So this is where, like, yeah, this is kind of a weak point for me, not knowing some of that history. But the stepdad, which we do find out later that his name is Wesley, tells him to go take his mark, and Marcus uh, puts down his sandwich into a brown paper bag, and we're thinking that's Harold, right?
Yeah.
And so these are some Easter eggs that I did pick up on my own. Um, did you notice Sweet Tooth's vehicle was on set, and you can see it through the window in the background?
I noticed it. I didn't notice it initially. I saw that you had like you tweeted about it or something, and then yeah, I caught it. My eyes kind of like went immediately there when the I saw the window.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And that's just see, like when I watch things, like often it's like I'm paying attention to like who has the speaking lines, right? That's where my attention
Mhm.
goes. And then, I watch it a few more times. But for the note taking, it's when I start like looking in the backgrounds. I'm like, how the hell did I just miss that? It's like it's right there. It's colorful as all get out. And so I feel like a complete doofus for missing that. I mean, and not to say that you are, because you also missed it, but I thought it was interesting. They give us a lot in that, but the dialogue is just like holy shit, like you're trying to tune into like what is going on. um some of the other things that I caught, obviously we see Marcus eating Skittles, a little callback to Sweet Tooth, preferring like Skittles over Mike and Ike's. And I feel there was also discussion in episode 2 when him and John are fighting in the casino too. I think Skittles comes up maybe.
Mhm.
Um, and Becca Black, one of the writers, she's also in the audience. She's like, if you know what she looks like, you can see her. It's like she's kind of, I think it's not the bottom row, but it's like in the stands. I think maybe around the front row. When it cuts to like the PA or whoever has like the headset, like you can also see her kind of like behind him a little bit. And Marcus, this is jumping ahead a little bit. After he has like the blood on his face, he squints his left eye, kind of mirroring Sweet Tooth's signature look when he only has like the
Oh
one
yeah.
eye kind of thing. So now he does have a line, Marcus here, and he says, "What does he say? Like you gotta blame it on my sweet tooth or something?" Or
Yeah, he's eating all the Skittles, yeah, and the woman they're knitting tells him that he has to stop because it's gonna hurt his tummy. And he says, "Oh yeah, tell that to my sweet tooth," and
yeah,
to no applause, dead reaction.
yeah, yeah. And that's also kind of like this is like a setup to the whole DMV sequence that we just saw, where like he got a standing ovation, and again a callback to when he um which I guess episode 2, holy cow. But when he's putting the play on for
Hmm.
John and Quiet, like so this all makes sense now. And the dog comes out, right? Let me see how gives no
Yeah,
applause, setting up
the
the whole. Yeah,
woman. Yeah, we got to open the ice cream store, and then I wonder what's taking Billy so long. And then we hear a toilet flush, and the golden retriever comes out. To massive applause.
I forget about the. Well, I remember hearing the sound effect of like the toilet flushing. I guess because it happens so quick. Then you see like Billy the dog, enter, and then he has like toilet paper on one of his paws, and but it all happens a little quickly that I don't even process that Billy flushed the toilet, and I guess wiped his own ass, and somehow, stepped on some toilet paper, and so I thought that was pretty funny. Um, Marcus, let's see, grabs one of. Did I skip something? Nope.
He's just as
Oh,
everyone's kind of like cheering for the dog. Yeah, he just starts like kind of like breathing heavily, like hyperventilating. And yeah, the other actor's calling for him to say his line, but he's not. He's kind of like disassociating.
yeah. We may rename like the best character um category or whatever to like Marcus, that's your line or whatever the actual line is. I'll have to get that. We may or may not incorporate sound effects later on. That sounds like a lot more work, especially since we're trying to wrap up season one. But I do like the idea of like using the Marcus, that's your line, of the week, something like that. So yeah, he grabs one of her knitting needles and stabs the shit out of Billy the dog. And he looks to one of the cameras and says "line" while smiling as the title cards come on. And did you take that as more of as him, doing the actor thing when you forget a line and you call out for your line? Was that your reading of him saying line or him just
Oh
saying line because
yeah,
she said that's your line?
I think yeah, like the he kind of goes into this rage, kills the dog, and then kind of that's him like snapping out of it. I mean, like, oh, that's right, I'm on the show. What's my line? Where are we at?
Right, almost. And I didn't put this together until now, but that's very much what's going to happen later on, right? When he's with Stu talking to the parents,
Mm-hmm.
because he does that very thing where he snaps out and like totally just changes, like his whole expression and all that. We cut to okay, so we get the title cards, the 1989.
Yeah,
It almost kind of looks like Family
it's
Matters now that I think about the
oh,
text.
it is yeah. I had to check, and it is the exact Family
Is it
Matters
real?
font.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Okay,
hold it
there you
next to
go.
each other. Yeah.
We'll do. Yeah. A hat tip to you there. Um, we cut to John and Quiet having arrived at New Chicago. And what do you think of the sequence of them trying to get into this compound? Now this is not like Calypso's compound, right? It's just only the entrance to New Chicago.
Yeah, I mean he runs New Chicago. He's like the Raven of that place, I assume. But yeah, like there's no like entrance, there's no gate, there's no it's just a wall and a moat. Uh, doesn't look very inviting.
It doesn't, and I guess if you really want to get in, you're gonna throw something at the gate, and that's basically you knocking on the door, right? And then the elevator pops up with like a timer, ding.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It's lucky for them that this place that they decided to stop was right next to that shack where the door ends
Yeah,
up
I
being.
I love I love the look of it and like there's like a moat and you have like all these like different like stones you can step on. So I do wonder if it's the thing where well, let's see how dumb people can be if they think they can jump onto the wall and climb over. But I do wonder if that's sort of like some sort of like acid bath or because it made me think of like this one stage from Mortal Kombat 2, where
Oh
they
yeah,
have like the green pool and so that's what it kind of looked like to me. John and Quiet, let's see, they're walking through, and Quiet's amused. She feels like this is kind of like an amusement park or like a haunted house kind of thing.
yeah.
John's very scared, kind of cowering a little bit, and they hear this mysterious voice, and it's and it startles them a little bit, but we do find out that it's a voice that's coming from a speaker. The first time I rewatched this episode recently, before the note taking, their startled reaction made me jump a little bit too, and I forgot that it was a like a speaker. Because like I wasn't trying to think ahead, like did we see him? I kind of forgot what happened. I was just kind of taking it in like live. And yeah, once John like jumps, I jumped too a little bit. Yeah, so yeah, it was really well done. And I do love the reaction on their faces. After John's like, "Wait a minute, are you Calypso?" And like, quite does this thing where she points to him, kind of, "All right, yeah. We've heard about you." And so I just love that. It's almost like them reverting back to being kids.
Yeah, they're both very like especially Quiet. Yeah, it doesn't seem to see any danger in the
Right.
situation whatsoever.
Very amused she is. Um, John also learns about what pizza is, and I love kind of his reaction to it. He's like, "Oh fuck, I want that," as if like she's already gonna be getting it, and he wants a piece of it too.
Yeah, yeah. She describes it as what is it? A wheel made of bread and cheese.
Yeah. And then did you I didn't write down like anything that Calypso really said, but basically, he knows why they're there, and it's like, yeah, just take your package and go. Um,
Yeah,
as they're
John's
walking,
kind of
yeah.
like probing, trying like, well, this at this point, normally like the cities, or whoever like gives me like some supplies, gas,
Hmm,
things like that to, get ready for the journey back. And yeah, Calypso says, no, no more, no less. You get what you get essentially.
okay.
Seems very Calypso might be a conservative. No, not
Yeah.
no free handouts. That's he says no free handouts. Yeah.
Uh, I do like the reveal of the package, how
Hmm.
it's just like secret compartment. I do love the look of the you know the packaging. I love like that bag or whatever. It is very durable. I tried looking
Very
up
sleek.
the yes, the serial number or model number. I was trying to see whatever that inscription was on the side, and I got like really nowhere. But some of the results were like parts of a refrigerator or like a door for a refrigerator, like random things. I'm like, okay, well maybe if that's what they were going for, like we're gonna find out what it is later on. So maybe that's what it was, or it just something completely random. Couldn't find any connection. But as they walk off, Wyatt tells John, she's like, that was cool. And yeah, I think so too, like no harm, no foul. And they just spoke to somebody through the speaker and got the
Yeah.
package. Easy peasy. They rode up in
Yeah.
an elevator or down rather.
And as they're leaving, uh, the Calypso says, your San Francisco treat awaits. Ding ding. Kind of. I assume he's going to be getting some rice aroni
Yeah.
when he gets there. But then yeah, he also says, "Oh, and John, may all your wishes come true," and then kind of, and laughs. So I
Yeah.
think is kind of the first hint at oh, Calypso's going to grant a wish.
Yeah. Very ominous because I don't recall him ever wishing for the rest of the season, but I always thought that the wish was more related to the tournament. So yeah, that's gonna be really interesting to kind of find out what like Calypso Calypso is capable of. There you go. I just combined two words. Um, we have a brief scene of John and Quiet on the road, and she's talking about inside New Chicago, and John wants to get to their next location one piece, and realizes that there is a milkman's pit stop that they can go to because they had to keep, avoiding Topeka and things like this. And then it's one of two left apparently, and you can shower, share intel, but like Fight Club, you don't talk about your job and
No
and
weapons.
no weapons. That's right. I think I was doing the dictation thing with my phone. It says enroll two, no weapons allowed. So I think I meant rule number two, no weapons are allowed. And so that kind of reminded me of like Cobra Kai, rule number one, rule number two, but that is also Karate Kid. So, and the fact that this is episode seven, and I'm sure it's by coincidence, but Alyssa, the writer who also did episode seven, but season three, being part of that universe, I was just like, oh, rule number one, rule number two. That's the only reason I bring that up. Um, Quiet, she mounts onto John as he drives, and probably something she saw in the Granny Sutra. I thought that was a drive-through. No,
Yeah, I think they have to be like going the other way, but it's definitely yeah, a very skilled uh, position. They're
yeah,
swerving as they're driving down, but it is keeping control.
I think so. Yeah, um, probably not his first rodeo. Let me see. They tell him he's hitting outposts. Okay, I missed a whole bunch. Oh, here we go. We cut to Agent Stone putting some gas in his vehicle. Then he gets a call over the radio from the Roberts, Carl and Jamie, who we previously met. And he was hoping for an update about John and Quiet, but they say it's about the clown. And it sounds like he has a history with Sweet Tooth by his reaction.
Yeah.
Did you have any notes on that or your observations of Stone?
No. Yeah. Just that he definitely like he's putting together the Like he's more focused on John and Quiet, but then as he's hearing the new information about Sweet Tooth, he starts kind of putting together, oh, they're a bigger threat, because they seem to actually have a plan.
Right. I guess I didn't look at it that way as, his mind is on John and Quiet. And great. Now we got the fucking clown to worry about too. That's like killing everybody at the outpost and releasing the prisoners. So yeah,
Yeah,
just on top
and
of
he
like
kind
trying
of
to find these two.
yeah, and like he lists off like all the places that they've hit. And I think he's kind of
Hmm.
like seeing like, oh, it's not just like random attacks from this guy. It's no, they're going somewhere specific.
Yeah, I think the way he lists them, I believe it is uh from west to east, right? I think he says Nevada, Utah, and then Colorado,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And yeah, that should be heading towards
Yeah,
maybe
Nevada,
Kansas or
Utah,
something.
Colorado. These are not random. The smiley face son of a bitch is going somewhere.
That's a great line right there. I really like that because it's a mask, so it's not like he's a guy that smiles all the time. It's a smiling clown mask, but I do like that line. Um, we cut to Sweet Tooth, Stu, and the prisoners, and he appears to be feeding him the same meal he was having on set of Billy and the Two Scoops. I guess we didn't talk about the title of Two Scoops. I guess it's just a family of like those ice cream folk. They have an ice cream shop
Yeah, I guess if
or
the
truck
show was
rather.
originally called Two Scoops, then yeah, I figured maybe it was like the Marcus, whatever his character's name is, and the granny like running a ice cream truck. Uh,
Right,
you know, but she says we have to open the ice cream store, and that's a lot different than I wouldn't say I if I'm gonna go out in my ice cream truck. Oh, I'm gonna go open the store. Uh,
right. They started the whole Uber Eats, right? Or whatever, DoorDash
the
and all that. So
the
they from
first
the
ghost kitchen.
yeah. I didn't write this down, but since we're kind of going back to the cold open real quick, what were your thoughts on his mom and stepfather, Amy and Wesley?
I mean they both seem like shitty, like uh what do they call it? Parents of a child star. They're not really concerned
Right,
about what how the kid's doing. It's just, and then Sweet Tooth kind of says it later, like you just wanted Alexis. Like,
right. Yeah. I guess 1989, I'd have to look. I don't remember Lexus's back that early, but I mean, I was
uh,
like 6 years old, so my mind was definitely not on cars, but I am curious. Um, curious to see what they looked like back then. But at least Wesley seemed okay. I mean, they definitely have their issues, but Wesley's a stepdad. I mean, he is taking on. I don't know. The mom's gonna be pretty shitty if he ended up with the dad, unless that was just Marcus's decision. Like, no, I want to go with my dad. But I'm trying to think like the mom, Amy. She's in a marriage or I don't know if they were married. Um, but also they are listed, jumping ahead, there is a paper clipping that names them. Well, I think it says Wesley and Amy Kane. So maybe Kane, they didn't mean Kane was Wesley's last name and Amy still had the Kane last name. A little bit confusing with the last names. Oh man, I wonder if that's something that might come up in season two now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know. The lore,
oh,
man.
like meet Sweet Tooth's real dad.
Yeah. Um, because in the credits at the end, I think they're just listed as Amy and Wesley, but in the paper clipping, there is definitely I'll try to have it up on the screen when we get to it. There's definitely because I read it. Did you read any of the paper clippings?
I read the
Not to jump ahead.
titles for all of them, and then the longer one that's kind of talking about like the trial and stuff. Yeah, I read through that.
Yeah, and there was like a paragraph that was repeated, so it was like a copy and paste. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'll pull it up later. But that was interesting, and it made me really confused because I was trying to figure out their parentage and lineage or whatever. So yeah, we'll talk about it then. Um, do you think? Okay, so back to the sweet tooth and feeding the folk. Do you think that he snapped and kind of was mature, like his maturation stunted from that event?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when he goes and he confronts them later, yeah, he definitely starts talking and acting, like he's a child talking to, their older parents. Yeah,
Yeah,
it definitely, if not at all times, he's able to just like when confronted with, seeing them or things about them, thinking about them, reverts back to a more childlike state.
yeah. And why do you think the meal? Well, it's basically something like a Capri Sun and
So yeah,
probably PB and
sandwiches and
J.
Capri Sun. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You know, uh, you stick with what you know. You probably,
yeah,
and especially these days, probably not as much variety. Though I'm impressed that they found so much bread and Capri Suns.
yeah. Without any mold, Capri Sun probably doesn't appear to be expired, but
Mhm.
yeah.
And he
Um,
denies Stu. Stu does not get to have a snack.
right. Yeah, poor Stu. He's told that he's going to be joining Sweet Tooth, and this is when Harold is put in charge, and he appears to have a revolver next to him as well.
Yeah,
Um, and when asked by Stu what they're here for, Sweet Tooth replies, "Closure." And the way Will Arnett delivers that sent chills down my spine. It was really, really well done. I don't know if they did anything else to manipulate his voice, but I guess the look of Samoa Joe in the mask and the delivery of closure, it was just bone chilling for him. John and Quiet, they arrive at the milkman's pit stop, the Nut House. He makes her an honorary milkman and asks her to go fill up a gas can. And here, a milkman cuts in front of her. And why do you think he's being an ass? Like maybe because he doesn't recognize her, or because she's a new
yeah,
face?
yeah. Probably he doesn't know her, so he doesn't think anything of just taking advantage of the situation and cutting in front of her.
He didn't seem to
He's
be
just a
in a
dick.
hurry or anything. Yeah, just hey, we needed a reason to get the introduction of Bloody Mary.
Mhm.
And what were your thoughts on her introduction? So this guy who we find out his name is Grady, he was about to possibly hit Quiet or something after like spitting on her boot, and then we kind of get like Bloody Mary entering the scene, and she pulls out a butterfly knife and starts like stabbing into his plastic gas can. I thought that was really cool, actually, what she did there.
Yeah,
But pretty good introduction, I think.
yeah. And it's got to be like that's a serious thing because it's probably not easy to find. A new gas can, and like now, like that thing is just ruined.
That's a very good point. That had not occurred to me, so he probably had to, yeah, leave the sequence to go get a new one. But I do love that. Doesn't she like punch him in the nuts real quick, and say,
Yeah,
"Oh, there's nothing there. He's got a
uh,
small dick or whatever."
yeah. Calls him piss flaps. Hits him in the nuts, and then says, that won't hurt him. He's got a tiny little penis."
Yeah, so she knows, or she could just be talking shit, and that's just one of her things. Um, Now, Quiet, she does question the butterfly knife, right? And mentions like, oh, isn't that against the rules? To which like Bloody Mary's like, well, we'll call her Mary for now, but she's like, oops, and tucks it away. So, do you think that this was to kind of show us that maybe she's not going to be playing by the rules? Because like it's kind of tough because like she's helping Quiet out, right? Like that's
Hmm.
that's why she pulls that out and reveals that. But I also think that it could also be a tip to the audience, like, well, she has that she's already not obeying by the rules. Maybe keep an eye out on this one.
Yeah, in her introduction, she has broken half of the rules that
Yeah.
exist at this place.
I think everyone has. And we follow Mary and Quiet into the nut house, and we find out Mary and John know each other, and we get some really good exposition on their history. Like this is very very heavy on Mary and Sweet Tooth, but holy shit, we almost the stuff that we learn about Mary, but also John and Mary. is
Hmm.
is it almost feels like we've already seen two episodes of it, right? It's so well,
Yeah.
like the description and the dialogue is very, very well done.
Oh yeah, yeah. As they're like kind of talking about their relationship, how they knew each other and stuff, you pick up a lot on uh just like how before Quiet, how John kind of treated his job and treated relationships with other people, and his relationship with his car.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I can't praise the writing enough, but it's like a real conversation because it easily could have been a back and forth between Mary and John, but they do it in a way where Mary and Quiet those two walk in, and before Quiet can reveal to Mary that she is there with John, Mary sees John, runs to him, they kiss, and then you see Quiet's face like, oh, they have a history. And then Quiet mentioned something, and she's like, "Oh, you guys know each other," and so it incorporates like Quiet into the conversation
Hmm.
too. So I really really like that. It gives Quiet something to do, and I love this thing where like uh Chloe Feynman's delivery of "You left me for dead, asshole." He's like, "I thought you were dead, asshole," or something like that. And then there's whole I think Quiet's like maybe it was Mary. Yeah, she asked Quiet like how tight do you think his asshole's like puckering up right now or something? Or but I
Yeah,
just
how
love
tight do
the
you think his butthole is?
yeah, but I forget what Quiet says, but it's like a teeny tiny starfish is what I wrote down. I love the delivery and that line itself.
Hmm.
I've never
Yeah, going back into this one, I was like, as we get this first interaction between the three of them, I was like, oh, oh, if they're gonna do the thing where Quiet's jealous, of this, and the episode's going to be about John having to like a worse show would have the conflict being that like, oh, she's upset about this past relationship or whatever, and it doesn't do that whatsoever. Immediately John is like trying to apologize as if that's going to be it, and she's like, what, you think I thought you were a virgin when we met, like
yeah
it's like it doesn't matter. Like move past this. Like yeah, very
yeah
very happy
you're
to
right.
just skip all of that.
100%. A lesser show would have done the trope of like look, we just spent a whole bottle episode of doing that. The will
Mm-hmm.
they, won't they, and we went past that. Let's not revisit that. Let's move on forward. So yes, it's the same thing. I kind of thought like, oh, wait, great, another bump in the road for them. But yeah, she said, I'm jumping ahead. She says, so John and Quiet arrive at the okay, so they're sitting at the bar. He's apologizing about Mary, which he said, and she says, I don't give two sake dumps about your ex. So again, just kind of like two soggy dubs. Okay, I just love you know teeny tiny starfish. This episode is like I had a hard time finding the Marcus. That's your line of the week, but also the best use of a swear word. Like this episode was chock full of all of those, and I
Mm-hmm.
wrote a few down just in case. Yeah, I don't know what you're gonna have, so I wrote a few in between, and maybe we'll revisit. But full of great liners, one-liners, and what have you. But I was jumping ahead a little bit, but we come back from a break, and now Quiet is learning more about John and Mary, and we find out that Mary's mom, who has passed, she ran one of the first pits in San Juan Capistrano, which I didn't know was a real place. So California's big, right? It is in the OC, and it's halfway between LA and San Diego to kind of give you an idea of the geography. And it sounds like someone set the place on fire, and John thought everyone died, but obviously Mary survived it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we're able to. I don't think we're supposed to take anything supernatural about that, right? Like she
Oh
found
yeah,
like the
I don't think so.
what was the thing about the church then? Because that's
She
unrelated to the pit.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I thought everyone died, but obviously she survived, and she mentions that she hid in the bell
Ah,
tower, which John remembers, and is like, oh, I haven't thought about that place in ages, and they both kind of back and forth. The bird shit, oh, all the bird shit.
right.
Yeah.
So she found shelter at a
Yeah.
place that she was familiar with and found some safety. Yeah, it's I I did write this down later on, but I'll say it now. Like I found Mary very sympathetic in this episode. Like um she's a hell of a character, I'll say that. So this is when so yes, back to the two sake dumps. Um Quiet reminds John that they're on schedule and that he needs to stop dicking around and he convinces her to hang out just a little longer to gather intel that could help them on their commute. So I think what he kind of points out is that was did he just find out that that there's a vulture's nest nearby
Yeah, he was
or
saying like had we not stopped here, we would have ran right into a
Hmm,
vulture's nest. So
that's what it
let's
yeah
butter these people up, and get some more
with some
information.
butter nips.
We yes, I thought when it's just a tray full of shot glasses that look like they're just filled with milk. And I was
Oh,
like, "Oh, what kind of bar is this?"
I thought it was like a White Russian or something, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
It just affected they were in shot glasses, but the buttery nipples, like yeah, okay, I'll buy that. I haven't had one of those since I probably started, going to the strip clubs and didn't know what to order. Back in little Peter there. This is when Quiet meets Mr. Slam. And your thoughts on their interaction?
Yeah, he's very personable bartender. And he kind of informs her that like what her her nickname Bloody Mary is, because she's made more runs than anyone. And so yeah, like after uh getting being in charge of the pit stop that she had, and then that burning down, her then now in that time raising up the ranks and just being the most like effective, or uh milkman. She clearly
Yeah.
has risen to the occasion. She always wanted to do that, but when given the opportunity, she excelled at it. And then yeah, we kind of get the rundown of the different nicknames of people here in the bar.
Yeah, we have Petunia, who I believe was supposed to be based off of like a character Drag Queen, I believe was the
Mhm.
name. Pizza Boy is there, Pit Viper. Um Now I forgot to bring this up because I didn't write the note, but to comment on Bloody Mary's outfit, I I don't remember exactly how she looks like in the video games, but I believe she's supposed to be like, have a wedding dress or something that's like bloody or something. But
Okay.
yeah, what they put her in is like I think the bottom part. I'm trying to get a good visual of her entire look here, but the bottom looks like it might be part of like what could have been a white dress, and the top it is kind of like this dark red crimson thing that looks like it could have been. It's just a color of that the top that she's wearing, but it does look like what the color would be in a white dress that has like blood stains, uh, you know, really old blood stains and dirt and stuff like that. So I love that look, So it's not blood, but it looks like it could be, if that
Yeah.
makes any sense at all. Um, so Mr. Slam, so Creek Wilson, who I did get to interview, he believes that Quiet spitting out her drink when he reveals that they call him Mr. Slam because he can smash anything with his massive penis. That the spit he believes was improvised. 'Cause he didn't, say like it was scripted or anything like that. He believes it was improv by her, and basically his audition was pretty much everything was on paper. So like the dialogue was very much the same. There was really no changes. So he said she was Stephanie Beatriz was lovely as you'd imagine, and Anthony Mackie all nice things to say. So, um, Quiet sees someone come in through the door looking so fresh and so clean, and Slam says they have everything to take the road ass off of them. I like that line. He hands her a towel, a bar of soap, and deodorant, all looking brand new. and the deodorant and the soap is for her nooks and crannies, which my phone put books and crannies. Um,
Which
so
yeah, Quiet tells him not to worry about her crannies.
yeah, I love that exchange. Now I didn't really get an answer from Mr. Wilson, but I do believe the Nut House. I believe it's his bar. I believe he's the Sam Malone. A Cheers reference there. I believe this is his bar. He's the bartender. Now I'm trying to think like how do these pits how are they operated? What's to stop vultures from finding, the nut house and robbing him of all these toiletries.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess it's either some type of like uh you know road code, like
Mm.
an honor kind of thing, or they're just they are very well armed, and it seems like there's enough people here that they probably were, if they were to get attacked, there's a lot of milkmen there to help defend. But it's also, as John says, it's the last of two, so maybe it's not a maybe it's only hanging on by a thread there.
Yeah, I do like the idea of like, the honor system, the honor code amongst these milkmen, and maybe it is kind of just active being the last two. So you're always going to have somebody. He's never really going to be alone. So if any vultures decide to attack the milkmen, I think they're very capable of defending themselves. But yeah, the supplies, yeah, they must be. I think it could be a thing where the milkmen are providing him with these things as long as he is still kind of active and operating. And it provides like shelter for them, and so that's kind of how he keeps things running because like the gas also appears to kind of be free. Like you just fill up whatever you need and kind of be on your way. So yeah, a very interesting uh, um, business. And yeah, I don't know. I would say like, hey, do you need a server? Like, let me stay here with
Yeah,
you. You seem like a pretty nice guy, and like anybody comes in here, you just swing your dick, and we'll be good.
I was gonna say a shower at whenever you want is probably pretty valuable.
Yes, absolutely. Um, we cut to Sweet Tooth and Stu, who are at the East Wing of Blackfield Asylum. And here, Stu is hearing Sweet Tooth's backstory. And so we learned that following does he say argument with his co-host, right? Like he gets put in a kitty ward. And from the kitty ward, he got sent to the Juvie Wellness Center. And then after murdering his roommate, he got bumped up to Blackfield.
Hmm. And yeah, and don't worry, the roommate was a total psychopath,
Yeah. And,
because he considers Chris Kirkpatrick the best member of NSYNC, which Sweet Tooth
do,
does not agree with. I also don't
right.
agree with.
Okay, that's what I have down here. Do you have an opinion? So, um, now I will say, okay, I agree with. Well, I mean, I wouldn't call somebody a complete psychopath, but I will say, don't sleep on Chris Kirkpatrick's voice because Drive Myself Crazy" is a fantastic song, and depending on the version, Chris Kirkpatrick kind of leads that song, and it's one of my favorite NSYNC songs. NSYNC is also my favorite like boy band too, so like I fucks with Sweet Tooth. uh, but nothing I thought I would actually say
you
about that, but
you may not have survived being his roommate.
well, yes, I probably I think I would have read the room better, but who knows? Like that discussion could
Not
have
push
like
the issue.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Maybe if you wanted to talk about NSYNC, I don't know if I would have changed the subject. Like, well, what do you think about those Backstreet Boys? And maybe he'll get upset, like, oh, well, I was talking about NSYNC, motherfucker. I don't know. Like, it could have escalated. So, you know, Sweet Tooth talks about his time there, and that's where he grew up. We find out that his parents never visited him. He was just very, very lonely. And I love this part where like Stu tries to show a little sympathy, and Sweet Tooth tells him not to make it about him, that it's unbecoming.
Yeah, which all he says is like, "Oh, you feel alone. I get it."
I love that. Oh, it's so funny. And it's the show is obviously a comedy as well, But I just love the levity. But we're not even quite there yet to kind of get that line. But I just love that. It's Stu. It's going to be coming. Like
I'm still
um
monologuing.
yes, exactly. Blackfield was the best 10 years of his 25 to life. I really like that line too. That's
Hmm.
a different take on just hearing um the 25 to life, the 10 best years. So he spent the other 15 in the kitty and the juvie, I guess. And this is when Sweet Tooth takes Stu to visit his parents. Um, was it locked? I kind of forget. Does he have to do something to the door,
Uh,
or it was
I
just
don't I
you
don't
could just
remember. I don't think so. I feel like he just opens it. Maybe he
okay.
already like has a key or something.
And my volume went down in
Um,
my in my in my earbuds. Apologies. Can you
yeah, can
speak a
this
little
is
bit
also where
while
we
I
get yeah, this is where we get the we see the newspaper clippings and we mentioned earlier we get needles in quotes Kane's sentence. So this clearly he got the needles nickname from the incident. And then
right.
I like dog funeral beats out ratings for kid trial, a headline that would never never be written.
No, but also I I thought that it was I mean, people are gonna write whatever they want to write about, but when I saw that I go, well no shit. I don't know if the dog just got killed. Like, the fans of John Wick, they would be watching that funeral, that televised funeral or whatever, and
Yeah.
over the killer, you know?
Yeah, I don't
So,
yeah, the idea of yeah, having a televised dog funeral would probably draw a lot of eyes.
well, I'm sure he was looked at as like some sort of like a national hero.
Hmm.
The show was
Yeah,
about to
real
be
Lassie.
renamed. I mean, he was the star. I'm still trying to raise the damn volume of my earbuds. It's so weird. I don't know how I can hear you, but not as loud as before. Everything seems to be up in the volume, but we'll do the best we can.
Hmm.
I'm trying to pull up the the article as well, but let's see. Newspaper clippings, bloody handprint, and the two bodies were left to rot. So that's what I was trying to figure out. If the handprints were one of theirs, probably was, and just in. Do you think? Do you think they were actually left there to rot, or do you think they were killed? Because they're like embracing each other. They're like holding each other. And so
Yeah.
either they both
I mean,
died at the same time
yeah.
or
I mean, like, well, yeah. I mean, it's just yeah. Stu mentions that, oh, you left him in here to starve to death, and Sweet Tooth doesn't refute that. He says, they they left me in here, and ignored me or whatever, so I kidnapped them and did the same. But yeah, you would think that if they were actually starving to death, they probably
hmm.
wouldn't be, you know, in that position embracing starving for that long. But maybe he came back and repositioned them. He's still
Could
they're
be.
still his parents. Well, half of
Right,
them.
right. They're like laying on the floor and he puts them up against the wall so they can see each other and so that way he can address them both, at the same time,
Hmm.
something like that. Um I do like how oh God, the delivery. I didn't write down the dialogue because it was just one of those moments where I was just like really into it and this is where um sometimes when I watch the show like sometimes I can separate like the voice from the body, right? Samoa Joe and Will Arnett, but in this very moment the dialogue and the delivery, they are the line is blurred, like they are definitely like one person in this moment.
Hmm.
And holy shit, it's frightening. And we get like a up close shot of like Sweet Tooth and he like wipes a tear off of the mask,
Hmm.
and then uh what does he say here? I wrote it. Wipes a tear, changes his tone and says uh, and that concludes our tour. you know. So that's kind of like what we are talking about, like in the flashback where he's like line, So it's a very quick change. Did you write down
Yeah.
any of that dialogue? Because he screams at his parents.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He introduces Stu to his mom and Wesley as we get the stepdad's name, and he comments, "That's right, I still won't call you dad." Uh,
So that's come
and
up before. That's right.
yeah,
I still
uh,
won't. Yeah.
yeah, and he just says like he locked his parents in here because they ignored his letters and calls, and so after everything fell, he tracked him down, locked him in here like they did to him. And Stu says, "Well, you got their attention now," and yeah, Sweet Tooth, yeah, I do. And he just mentions that he never wanted to do the sitcom. He never wanted to audition for that. He was very happy just doing summer stock in the Berkshires. But they wanted Alexis, and yeah, then he just starts stomping the corpse into mush.
Yeah, that was kind of frightening. I do have a little bit of of the episode up here, or the oh no, okay, can't see. I was trying to freeze the thing, but yeah, it looks like the some network, played the funeral for like 10 hours, of the Billy, and to see if I can read. Oh, I also looked up the names of the people that wrote the articles. Jamie Bradford and a Jacob Kudon or something like that. Could not find anything on either of those two people. So it just could be some personal friends of the people that made this. I did see like the second name to Jacob something. There is a guy with that name that's a comedian in the LA area. That could be the connection. I'm not sure if it's the same guy. Um, but I hate how like on my screen right now, I'm looking at the article that says Needles Kane sentenced, and I have it paused, and it kind of does a thing where like the bottom half is like that gradient transparent black, so I can't see the
Oh
actual
yeah,
article, but on my TV I can read the entire thing as clear as day. But if I tap on the damn screen, it's going to play the episode, so I really hate that. I wish I had a better screen capture, but to read a little bit more from the article. But they put some thought into the article, but there's definitely some copy and pasting just to make it look longer.
yeah. I definitely, as I started reading it, just kind of assume it's going to be that like boilerplate, just prop kind of
Hmm.
article where it's just the same thing over and over, or like lorem ipsum or something like that. But no, they
Right.
someone actually went in and and wrote some copy there.
Yeah. A couple of things I do remember is that they said that the parents did not they did what was the thing they
So
refused
they were like
they did, yeah, the
denying like a
interviews.
history of
Oh,
stuff like this
oh,
happening
right, right,
as
right, right,
well.
right,
Yeah, like
right.
he doesn't
Like,
have a history of hurting animals or hurting anyone. This was, out of nowhere.
yes, and the parents they de declined. That's the word I was trying to come up with. Declined for interviews, and the networks also something something they were played naive, or I kind of forget again. Like I wish I had a screenshot, but um, just to kind of give us more context of like the whole situation. So the studios were like, no, they were definitely uh trying to stay out of it. So. Cut back to Quiet finishing up a shower, and Mary is there, and she offers her a bump off of her knife, uh, which I'm assuming is cocaine, to which Quiet turns down. And the only note I have is that it didn't look like there was real powder on there, right? It looked like whatever that was on the knife, she does a sniff and like it's still there. And so I thought that it's like a fake little pile of powder that's actually,
Mhm.
you know, something to kind of just sit there so she doesn't accidentally kind of drop it. So I thought that was interesting because I know in some other movies and shows they'll use like a vitamin uh E or something, or whatever
Yeah,
is not the
something
sun. Is D the sun? Vitamin D from the sun? Is that
vitamin
what you
vitamin D's the sun one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so vitamin E then is what you can get like tablets of, and I've heard of that where they will snort vitamin E. So
Hmm.
yeah, it because I remember like if you recall when we did like the season one recap with Gamer J Lee and Real Radic, I mentioned like she like did a bump like kind of weird, and it just stuck out to me, because it just did. And so like yeah, watching it this time I go. it looked, yeah, it was too, it shouldn't have been an up close shot is what I'm saying. Like it should have been like, when you see them two like in the same frame or something. So
Or yeah, or
uh
have the angle or something where you just actually can't see, the
yeah, I
going to the nose or
I
something.
I'm sure people are like, Peter's focusing too much time on this, but I watch this stuff because I'm always curious to see who is willing to commit to actually like snorting something or, like it's just a curiosity for me. Because I feel, yeah, to make it real, I'll be like, yeah, let me get some vitamin D, let's make it look real kind of thing. So I'm not saying anything about anybody, but it's just like, oh, that didn't appear to be real powder. So, um, and I also even consider like, oh, maybe it's like an instrument that um you kind of like tuck into like a little thing and then you snip out of that too. Like with like a little bevel. What was the like the opening of a needle?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
so with that bevel.
yeah, one of those words. But yeah, I thought it's like something like that. But anyway, we get too much time spent on that. Mary, learning more about Quiet, it compares their relationships with John. Tells her no one comes between him and Evelyn. So I just kind of abbreviated that entire scene, but really great stuff there. Did you note anything there?
Yeah, they're kind of is it Mary notices Quiet's brand and like calls
Right.
out like, oh, I recognize that, and they're kind of like she's comparing different scars and stuff, and mentions shows one on her leg that came from butchers, and then
Mhm.
mentions that the dude doesn't taste too bad, so she has partaken in the cannibalism.
Yeah, grilled. I think did she mention like grilled or something? Possibly.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
I
hope
think
so.
yeah, yeah, grilled dude tastes not so bad.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, as long as it's cooked and seasoned, you know. Yeah. Let's see. Cut back to Sweet Tooth and Stu, who are waking up the prisoners from their naps, only to find that they've all been killed. Sweet Tooth accuses Harold at first. I thought that was
yeah,
interesting because he's the one with the gun.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do love that. Yeah, he just it seems like this wasn't the first time he's came back to some people being dead and thinking that Harold did it.
Right. And Sweet Tooth, let's see. Stu assesses the scene and sees silhouettes up in a tower and quickly warns Sweet Tooth to get down. So I thought that was really well done. I wasn't sure if Stu was really assessing the scene, or was he just kind of looking because he's shocked? But I kind of want to give him the credit, because he's the one that also spots the silhouettes. Um,
Yeah, I think he probably is knows well enough that like I don't think the paper bag killed these guys. We should probably
that's fair.
look around.
That's fair because like we're seeing that one of the prisoners like was shot while like drinking the quote unquote Capri Sun, and so I thought Stu was just like, oh shit, like these people, they were picked off, like they were just minding their own business, and there
Hmm.
are like bullet wounds and stuff, and so yeah, but he sees the snipers, so they're not really hiding themselves very well, or they don't care to because they're high enough in the towers. They already had the advantage. Um, Stone, wait, ah, so yeah, the snipers were Mike and the Roberts, and Mike looks really concerned that Stu was shot because I don't know if he was instructed to shoot at Stu or whatever, but there was definitely shots fired, and Stu looked like
Hmm.
he got shot. Stone wants weapons collected and instructs them to bring back Sweet Tooth's mask to so he can put it up on his wall. So I thought that was interesting because I didn't get the sense when we saw his office last time that he really had quote unquote trophies, because even the bear was kind of like hidden.
Yeah,
So now I'm kind of wondering.
maybe
I mean,
maybe this
but
is kind of the first like real like adversary. Like
yeah,
it seems like Stone is definitely a little shook by the whole situation. Having to having these like two different parties that are actually giving him trouble.
that's fair. And the bear, the bloody bear, that's actually not necessarily even a trophy because like that was an accidental kill of a little child. And the Sweet Tooth's mask, like I could see that being a real trophy of like, yeah, like you said, an adversary. And I guess we kind of didn't even mention when he was getting the call over the radio, he looked at his hand and like how it was trembling, like he just anxiety and all these things, oh that fucking clown
Hmm.
again, kind of thing. Um, we go to John, who's putting gas into Evelyn's at nighttime now, and hearing the gas pour makes him want to take a leak, as I feel probably does a lot of people if you're on a long commute. And this is where Mary pops out of nowhere, and she does pop a squat and joins him in urinating. So, you know,
Hmm.
they have history, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, they talk about his relationship with Quiet, and he lets it slip that it's his last run. And he breaks the rules himself and tells her way too much. And we are going to
Hmm.
find out that he's drunk, and that's probably why. Uh,
Yeah.
he was being a little loosey goosey with the tongue there.
Yeah,
Um,
he doesn't like outright say, exactly like what's going to happen, but yeah, that like this job is going to get him the thing that he's always wanted, and she clearly knows that it's a home inside of a city or something.
yeah, and I love the way Chloe plays this scene where after she finds out that this is his last run. And she's like, well, what are you talking about? And then like probes a little bit more and finds out that he's going to get what he wants. And since they know each other so well, she knows what that means. But if you just look at her face, like, holy shit, I feel like she just spent forever reading the lines and figuring out how to deliver them, but also like the face acting it's was really 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 good. You see the desperation in her face where she just like wants to fucking know like all the details here.
Hmm.
Um, John tells oh they go back inside just in time to see Slam do his thing, and he warns the people in the front row are gonna get wet. That's a really good line there. But if we're being honest, I think anybody that's excited about this, I think wherever you're standing or sitting, you're all getting wet.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, so so John tells Quiet that Evelyn's all gassed up and ready to go, and notices that she smells like fresh forest. I love that. You smell like fresh forest, like camping, is what he says. And
Hmm.
she realizes he's drunk, and he pretty much admits it. The crowd starts chanting Slam, and as John and Quiet joins in, Quiet notices Mary going around whispering something into some of the bar patrons' ear. Now, Mary reveals that word has gotten around about his package and that he's not the only one trying to get inside New San Francisco. So John is big mad that Mary could have waited 1 minute gesturing over to slam
Yeah.
the watermelon. And I love the side
Yes.
eye
Yeah.
from Quiet. Um, we get like shots of like a bunch of different people, including Petunia, kind of like and in my apologies, I don't know, if they have a preferred pronoun. So, Petunia kind of cracks their knuckles. But also I love like the one dude with a do-rag who's like holding up a fork and smiling.
Hmm. I'd,
So I
I'd
guess
say as when Petunia is Petunia, she is probably pretty safe.
okay, yeah. Um, Now I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but the confrontation like it continues. Well, I guess it's not really jumping ahead. The confrontation continues, and John questions like who should he give the package to and stuff like that. But Slam, is he trying to create like a diversion right here? Because like all this is going on, no one's really paying attention to him, so he just decides to like start swinging his dick side to side, and then like slams, and then like smashes the watermelon. So I thought that was kind of like, why did he do that? And I didn't even get a chance to ask Creek what, why he thought that Sam just decided to do that then and there.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the he sees where everything's going, and he's not going to not slam. He's already ready, and so what better way to commence the chaos than getting everyone sticky?
And I do love the idea of like, well, shit's about to hit the fan. I'm gonna fucking slam my dick on something. So it's
Yeah,
gonna be this watermelon that I just busted out.
yeah. Art waits for no one.
Fair enough. I do like that. The main fight is really Quiet and Mary. That's kind of the focus here. I really love their exchange. And Mary's doing most of the talking. And again, I sympathize with her. There's a lot of pain behind her. Um, so fuck him if he thinks he can waltz into a better life. Just like emphasizing how difficult she's had it, how she wanted to
Hmm.
be a milkman again, but he was quote unquote looking out for her. The car came in between them two. So that line, dude, it really I guess affected me in a way where I was just like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Yeah.
It really sells to like two people who have a history, but were at different points, in their lives. And so like the thing that she wanted, he wasn't ready for. And now, years later or whatever, he is at that point where he can, have someone else out there with him, but he's, left her in the dust.
Yeah, and it speaks more to like how much she even talks about how like I would have followed that milkman anywhere or something like that,
Hmm.
and just to show the contrast between hearing about their past relationship versus what we've been seeing with Quiet and John, how what it was like their second run. I think Quiet mentioned to Mary earlier that
Yeah.
yeah, because she Mary had assumed that they've been doing this for a while now, but she found out it was just a second run, and so it's like all of this animosity is building up in Mary's mind, and that's why like Mary is like hell bent on killing her. But also, like I know it's kind of a gift, and also like if you see sequences in promos and trailers, whatever, there's that one shot where shit really hits the fan. Where well, I guess it might be in mid fight, but it's just thing Chloe does where like she's like standing there staring at Quiet, and kind of like she's like tilting her head sideways as she's like screaming or something. That's something that I'm always paying attention to because Chloe is always like really commanding attention when she's on screen. I might be tipping my hand a little bit here for one of our categories. Um, let's see here. I mentioned oh yeah, so fuck him if he thinks he can waltz into a better life. John just had it so much easier than her. So Quiet advises her to not let revenge ruin a second chance. Quiet gets up, and as she turns away, Mary gets up and grabs her knife, which John gives Quiet the heads up, and she was able to block the attack and then guts her right in the stomach with her axe. So yeah,
Yeah.
really quick sequence there. You have
Yeah.
any
And
to
during
add?
the yeah, during the fight, John is earlier. John had mentioned about Pizza Boy, never trust someone who wears a jacket inside, and so we see them fighting, and John is just like repeatedly stabbing him, like but in the jacket, and we just hear the jacket squeaking like a squeak toy, and just seems
Right.
to be doing nothing. So whatever that thing is stuffed with, is very very durable. It's not just light fluff.
Right. Yeah, that's a good comment, observation, but also the line of I don't trust somebody with a jacket on. I am trying to like, yeah, it's got to be pretty warm. I would imagine. Um, Probably no AC and stuff. So yeah, dude, what are you doing wearing that big ass poofy jacket? So they so John and Quiet seem to be nope, nope, nope. I got Mary lets out one last laugh before her body hits the floor. What did you think about that little maniacal laugh that she does?
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's kind of she kind of knew like the risk of now turning on John and trying to uh take what he has, but it didn't work out, and she gets it.
She sure does. They seem to be the only two left standing, but sees Slam hiding behind the bar, and Quiet compliments him on nice dong moves.
Yeah.
Um, Now, Creek Wilson did share that what was cut out during the fighting, it does cut to Mr. Slam kind of like trying to get to behind the bar. So I thought that's kind of interesting because I would imagine it's a matter like a couple seconds, right? Just to see Slam like, oh, but I guess we're gonna see him at the bar, so you can put, two and two together.
Hmm.
And maybe they just wanted to kind of focus on the fights, the few
Yeah.
different things there. So yeah, so we had a little bit more Slam that was just cut out. Cut back to Mike and the Roberts checking on the dead prisoners, and they were instructed to double tap just in case, and collect weapons. Mike runs over to Stu, and he's in tears, thinking that Stu's dead. And just when we get
Hmm.
that little jump scare, kind of like in horror movies, and uh, Stu, yeah, sits up and so he's alive. So I love this where Mike says, "I thought I killed you." He's like, "You tried to kill me?" And he's like, no." Love that exchange because Stu's just like besides himself, like you actually tried, like you didn't even try to miss, like you actually tried to hit me. So yeah, said a lot in that there. Um, Sweet Tooth was nearby, choking out a lawman, demanding to know who was behind this, and guess accidentally snaps his neck. Because he's like, "Oops." I don't know if you read that any differently or caught that.
No, yeah, yeah. It seems like he just a little overzealous.
You're like, who did this? So I like that. Almost a little bit like Batman. Maybe he was channeling Batman. We've referenced the Dark Knight before. Um, grab. See, he grabs Mike next. Okay, Sweet Tooth grabs Mike next,
Hmm.
who gives up Stone quickly because, of course, and Stu suggests using Mike to help hurt Stone because yeah. Wait, what does Stu say? He's like, "Hey, Stone hurt you. Let's use him to hurt Stone or hurt him or something like that." Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
line.
pretty much. Yeah, Stu can help us get to Stone.
Right. Keep him alive, so Stu still, that's his buddy, right? So despite almost being, tried to be killed, he's still gonna save Mike. And John and Quiet get ready to leave the nut house. And he tosses her the keys and suggests she drives until he at least sobers up, and that makes her happy. So again, like
Hmm.
a lesser show could have made that a little bit weird, but like no, we're just look, they moved past this, and
Yeah,
everything we learned between Quiet and Mary, um, this gesture. It puts any of Quiet's doubts to rest, right? Like, whoa, he just gave me
yeah,
the keys. So I guess Mary didn't really know what she was talking about, or like it's apples and oranges.
yeah. It really seals the deal that the Mary that John knew was not the John that Quiet knows.
Correct. Yes. And as they drive off, we see Pit Viper was hiding in the shadows and messages Stone about their plans to New San Francisco. Now, I didn't look it up, but I do feel like when season one first dropped a couple years ago, people were talking about that character, and I feel like they said that that's kind of in line with what she does or something. I don't know, but I know she's a character in the game. Um, So maybe we'll see her again. Who knows? Well, I guess
Maybe.
only if she's still in contact with the lawman. Who knows? We end on Stone driving with the Roberts and asks if they've shot trout in a barrel and tells them the fun part isn't actually shooting them, it's trapping them in the barrel. Boy, howdy, I do love a good trap. And we fade to black. So I thought that was interesting there. Do you have any thoughts on that last sequence?
Uh, I mean, and I guess trapping the fish would be the fun part because that's fishing. But I never thought about that part of shooting fish in a barrel because it's not shooting fish in a barrel isn't fun. It's just easy, you know.
Right.
But
Because they're already
I
in
think
there.
that might.
Yeah.
I feel like Stone in the past has had kind of like uh phrases or whatever that his interpretation isn't necessarily like what everyone else would interpret it as. But yeah,
Yeah.
and we see the twins or the siblings, whatever,
Yes.
are one. Do they both have a neck brace or one? They mentioned they were in an accident or something or collision
Right. Right.
earlier. Like bandaged
I
up.
do. They did mention a little snafu.
Hmm.
Excuse me, at the motor pool, and that just might be setting up to how we see them later on. Because yeah, I did not look at them because I was more focused on Stone and the dialogue, so I actually don't know. I do believe Carl's in the middle, so he's probably sitting back seat, may have the neck brace, but they were might be the both of them. I mean, that's just a funnier visual. I don't
Yeah,
recall.
I will
Um,
say it's like a very small, like it's not a real nitpick. I don't actually care. But it does give vibes of like later seasons. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
The yes, the Game of Thrones, yes, not House of Dragons.
Okay. Yeah, like by the end of Game of Thrones, the geography was just thrown out the window. So it didn't matter where someone was in one scene. In the next scene, they what would have, taken months to travel, they're just kind of there. And I kind of got that
Yeah.
vibe of like, oh wait, now they're just like all together, when they were, it seemed like those two were
Oh,
at
right.
like some different outpost reporting or something. But yeah, I just was kind of like, oh, they're here. I wonder, they must have been pretty close.
Yeah, could be. Um, I do. I mean, we have what 3 episodes left, so I'm trying to. I'm not looking for the answer, but I am kind of like, oh, when do we see them again? Is it episode 9? So, yeah, 8. The next episode 8 is I believe is when we get like the holy men and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
uh, okay, so now we have our games. I do have a blank one on here. So for best line, that's DeMarcus, it's your line of the week. I went last time. Why don't you go ahead and go first? What was your line?
Yeah, mine was the description of John's butthole being like a teeny tiny starfish.
Yeah, that's a very good one. Again, I wrote it just in case you had something different. Mine is more than just a line. Basically, after Stu convinces Sweet Tooth to keep Mike, Sweet Tooth says, "You want a pet? Fine. You clean up after him. We know what I do to naughty dogs." And I love that. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we've just spent all episode learning about the relationship with you and your co-host and how much hatred you have for him. So that's right. Keep this guy in line or I'll fucking kill him. So that said a lot. I love that. Who was your best character? Or I don't know if this is a good naming of this category, but like, who's your will you drive, of the week? Like, to kind of take back to the Raven to John. Is that what she says? Like, will you drive?
Oh, I don't remember.
So, yeah, so I was trying to do a play on that. Like, so yeah, who's your driver of the week, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a driver. Like, I listened to the reason I referenced Cheers earlier because I'm actually going through my very first viewing of Cheers. I'm already into the
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca years now. And this podcast I listened to, so shout outs to Cheers Cast. They do these superlatives at the end, and they have like an employee of the week, and that just could be the best
Okay.
character. So I'm kind of lifting that from the best driver of the week.
Yeah, I mean, although we don't, see him drive whatsoever, Mr. Slam takes it for sure.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That sounds like a Tyler pick for sure. Um, I've been praising her all episode. Bloody Mary is my uh, driver of the week. She gave us so much backstory. Like I mentioned, I feel like all the exposition we got, I felt like we already had 2 episodes focusing on Mary becoming Bloody Mary, and just the dialogue and the face acting by Chloe Fineman. I can't praise her enough for this, and not gonna lie, I wasn't like an avid like SNL watcher. I am more like, oh, what's the new funny cold open, the
Hmm.
political stuff, or what are the clips being shared? I don't often go and watch like an entire episode. I have Peacock, and sometimes I'll do that depending on the guest. Like go back and watch replay or whatever. But when Twisted Metal dropped, I didn't even know Chloe Fineman's name. Like I knew her face, but Twisted Metal is what made me like, oh, I need to see more of her. And
Hmm.
so yeah, she's become like one of my favorites on SNL. So thank you, Twisted Metal, for that. Um, who has the best costume? So like hopefully we can get like a good renaming of that too. Best costume of the episode.
Best costume in world is Pizza Boy, for
Same.
sure. The sunglasses, the puffy red jacket, he's just so cool. But if we're going best costume for an actor, then once again, Mr. Slam and his giant prosthetic hog.
I consider that for that same reason. Like if we're doing like real life, like yeah, the 5 molds of his of a penis that we've seen on social media from Stacey Perry, the special effects I'm forgetting her title. I know is there a few different words like special effects makeup department head or something like that. But that's available on social media if you guys want to go check out what they look like. She does kind of censor the tip of the penis, with like emojis, I believe, for like meta reasons. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are or what I mean because they're basically dildos. So I'm not sure if there's any rules against those. But I've seen some pretty some stuff that I'm surprised that's even still you know there and haven't been reported. But yeah, Pizza Boy was mine. But also, how does he? Pizza Boy seems like a guy that can keep his jacket clean at all times, right? Like he probably showers
Mhm.
there. His hair's always looking nice, combed. I think he's talking about surfing with John at one point or something.
Yeah.
What about Best Death?
Best death. I have. Oh, the. I mean, Bloody Mary. I mean, just the you know
Tackle?
yeah, the sudden hatchet to the chest, and then yeah, taking it like a champ.
Yes. The cackling is a little unsettling too. Like it makes me feel like kind of weird. My best death, and if we can, maybe we can wait. For the rest of our season one reviews to even rename this. So it's not like, I don't think it's important to have names for these, but I would like to try to like if we could think of like any great kills where a line is uttered, and maybe we can incorporate that. My best death was Pizza Boy. You talked about it. You described how it happens. John's drunk. And we've questioned this before. Has John killed in cold blood? Well, and we talked about it a little bit and was just like, well, maybe in self-defense and stuff. And this was very much in line with that. But I don't know what he is smashing Pizza Boy's face with, but the way it's done, and how Pizza Boy's like feet is just like he just keeps like popping up into the frame up and down as he's like being smashed is comical as hell. And I don't remember if we get any sound effects like the squeaking from the punching earlier from John, where he's just like, "What the?" He comments on the jacket making sounds. But yeah, Pizza Boy, if you just go back and look for his feet flailing, almost like Kermit's arms, so funny. Um, did you have a post-fall slang?
The only thing I had was just pits,
Okay,
for like pit
yeah.
stop.
Right, right. That's one that I definitely considered because of Bloody Mary also mentioned her mom having run one. I couldn't think of one myself. The best song, The Needle Drop, we both did discuss this pre-recording. Neither of us had one down, but there is a, song called Party Hard, which is the other one from Andrew WK. We also discussed this. He is a blind spot for me, but based off of Wikipedia saying that it came out late 2001. This is also post 9/11, and I was in the army like at basic training and AIT and all that. So like I was not privy to a lot of these. Um,
Yeah,
and
I
what
listened
about
to
yeah,
Andrew WK a lot around that time. When I was in middle school, I listened to this song and that album a lot, and then never since then.
see, so when you were listening to this, I'm remembering songs from like Enrique Iglesias, of Hero, like all of those songs, probably something from Three Doors Down, I imagine. And yeah, so those were the stuff because like, like I'm 18 years old. I had just enlisted and the whole country is, you know, in shambles and a wreck and all that stuff. And shit, I'm having that like what's that Raven Simone show where like the thing like it cuts to like going into her eye and there's like a memory or something. I don't know. So I'm having like this bit of a flashback with myself, just kind of going back to that time. But yeah, complete blind spot for me. But one of my favorite categories that you came up here, best use of a swear word. I'm curious to see what you have. I know
Uh,
mine hasn't been mentioned yet, so
I have when Quiet is kind of arguing about the no weapons rule,
yes,
and
I,
says, like, oh, I stabbed you with a pen. You got your hands. What are you? And she mentions that you can thumb fuck the guys.
that's the one. That's also mine. So yeah, this clever way because I've never looked at it that way. That's right. Those are thumbs, fucking eye sockets, basically. So
Yeah.
I love to use that. So that is mine. So we cross over on. Let's see.
My runner up was
Oh,
Quiet calling the guy I can't remember his name who cut her piss flaps. Thought that was also good.
Grady. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Piss flaps. Piss flaps? That was your
piss
swear word?
flaps.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
mean
was.
it's
Yeah.
I've never heard piss flaps before, so it's
Fair.
creative.
That maybe that's your post-fall slang. Maybe.
Yeah,
But but you know what? I just got the visual of piss flaps. Damn it! It sounded funny, but I just figured exactly what that was. Okay, damn, I can't get the visual out of my mind now. Wow. See, I'd never even you bringing it up, and I'm just like, okay, well, what's so funny? Piss flaps. And I just yeah, because it made me think of like mud flaps, and I guess I just never thought about it further. And yes, it's the foreskin, right? This is
yeah.
yeah, there we go. That's the way to end an episode. So, the speaking of episodes, let's see if I can pull up. You don't happen to have the title of the next one, right? Oh, here we go. Episode 8 is Evelyn. So I do kind of remember that we get a little backstory on how John finds Evelyn. So that's going to be the next episode. You guys, we have less than 2 weeks left to get these 3 episodes. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll try to get these out. I don't, I do. I'm waiting to hear back from one more interview. For season one. Actually, two. There's two more that I'm hoping to get, and if it comes, after season two drops, so be it. But I just wanted to tease that up, just to kind of keep it fun. I do have an interview already recorded to drop when season two comes out. It's a little light on the Twisted Metal just because I haven't seen season two, so I couldn't really ask about season two a whole lot. But it is somebody from season two, and we're gonna learn a lot about that person. And after season two drops and we see more episodes, if they are in more episodes, then we can get into details then. So little tease for what's to come. And until the next episode, keep it twisted.